All right, today we are cracking open the playbook for one of the most exciting and, let's be honest, misunderstood markets in the world, African beauty. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar opportunity where all the usual rules just don't apply. So stick around as we break down the critical do's and don'ts, all based on some incredible insider analysis from the strategy consultancy Reconnected Africa.
You know, this quote right here, it cuts right to the absolute core of the market's psychology. The African consumer, it doesn't matter if they have a little or a lot to spend, is driven by one thing above all else: value. And look, this isn't about being cheap. No, it's about a really deep-seated demand for quality that actually justifies the price tag. If you can get this, you can unlock the market. If you ignore it, well, you're setting yourself up for failure.
The potential here is just enormous, but so many brands, we're talking foreign and even local ones, get it completely wrong. They try to just copy and paste strategies that worked for them somewhere else, and they almost always fail. Why? Because the rules for winning in Africa are fundamentally different. Success means you have to unlearn what you think you know and start actually listening to the consumer. So, to really understand what to do, we first have to look at what not to do. Reconnected Africa has identified 4 critical and often very expensive missteps that brands make all the time when they try to enter this space. And these aren't just small mistakes, you guys. These can be absolute brand killers.
Okay, first up, cultural insensitivity. This is a big one. You simply cannot impose Western or Eastern beauty ideals here and expect them to stick. African beauty standards are incredibly diverse, but there's often a huge celebration of natural features and indigenous traditions. For example, while skin bleaching is a complex topic in some parts of West Africa, it's a total non-starter in most other regions. You absolutely 100% have to do your homework. And if you think this is just theory, look at the devastating real-world consequences here. Clicks, a huge South African retailer, ran an ad calling natural 4C hair, that's the beautiful tightly coiled natural African hair texture, dry and damaged. The public backlash was immediate and it was furious. We're talking nationwide protests, store vandalism, and a PR nightmare that ended with the company being forced to fund social programs just to show they were sorry. A single culturally deft ad created a massive financial and reputational disaster.
The second misstep is thinking of packaging as just some throwaway container. In Africa, packaging is a powerful signal. It communicates quality, it communicates durability, and it even communicates sustainability, which is a core cultural value rooted in this idea of a circular economy, where very little is ever used just once.
This illustrates that disconnect perfectly. You know that minimalist, lab-style aesthetic that's super trendy everywhere else? Well, it often completely flops in Africa. It can come across as childish or, even worse, signal poor quality. Consumers here value distinct branding and durable packaging that they can actually reuse for something else later. In fact, some brands that adopted this trendy look literally lost customers over it. The takeaway is crystal clear. Your packaging has to signal lasting quality.
Right. So it's not enough to just put a product on a shelf and expect people to buy it. You have to educate them. I mean, mascara is mascara, right? So you have to answer the question, why is your mascara worth their hard-earned money over the one they've been using for years? You have to clearly explain the benefits and connect your product to a relatable, real-life problem they're actually having.
The gua sha tool is a perfect example of this. This thing was available in South Africa for years, and nobody cared. There was almost no interest. Then, social media started educating consumers on what it actually does. See, in South Africa, there's a specific term for a puffy face after a long night out. They call it a puzza face. The second people connected the gua sha to curing their puzza face, boom, it became a holy grail product. The market was unlocked not by the product itself, but by education that solved a really unique cultural pain point.
And the final misstep, ignoring regulations. I know, it sounds so obvious, but you would not believe what a massive pitfall this is. Every single country has its own strict rules on ingredients, on testing, on labeling. A bestseller in Europe could be totally illegal in Nigeria. Before you even think about product development, you have to understand the regulatory landscape to avoid huge fines and crippling delays.
Okay, so we've seen the pitfalls. We've seen what not to do. Now let's flip the script and look at the keys to success. These are the actionable strategies that successful brands are using right now to build lasting loyalty in the African market. The first key? Well, it goes right back to that opening quote we saw. It all starts with quality and affordability. Value for money is everything. It's what drives repeat purchases, and it's what builds generational loyalty. A fantastic example is the brand Soft and Free. It's a household name because it consistently offers affordable, quality alternatives. Their recent cannabis and shea butter range was a massive hit, precisely because it delivered a trending, high-quality product at a price point people could actually afford, right there in the grocery store.
The second key is to leverage local ingredients. There's this deep, almost innate understanding of what ingredients like shea butter, moringa, or jojoba oil actually do. It's cultural knowledge that's been passed down through generations. So by incorporating these familiar ingredients, you don't have to spend millions educating the consumer on their benefits. They already know. It builds instant trust and recognition.
And what's really cool is that this strategy works across the entire price spectrum. So on the affordable end, you've got a brand like Black Chic. Their hair food is a staple in so many households because it uses trusted basics like coconut oil. But then on the premium end, you have a brand like Africology, which uses exotic African herbs to create this unique luxury experience. The principle is exactly the same at any price point. Start with ingredients people already know and trust.
Look, you can't win this market from an office in another country. It's just not going to happen. The third key is building deep local partnerships. This means working with local distributors, retailers, and especially the beauty professionals, the hairstylists and makeup artists who are the true influencers on the ground. Dark and Lovely mastered this. For decades, you could not walk into a salon, whether it was in a wealthy suburb or a rural township, without seeing their poster on the wall. That is how you dominate a market.
The fourth key is all about availability. You have to be everywhere your customer is, online, offline, mobile first, in formal retailers, and in local markets. Exclusive deals with high-end stores, that is a huge mistake. It's often seen as playing class politics with beauty. Aunt Jackie's learned this the hard way. They launched exclusively with one premium retailer at a really high price, and the market immediately saw them as detached and inaccessible. They have since spent years and a fortune trying to undo that disastrous first impression.
So, putting all of this together, what's the actual path forward for a brand or an investor who's looking at Africa? Well, it means there is a clear strategy for success, but only, and this is a big only, if you're willing to play by the market's rules. Which brings us to the final and most crucial question. This isn't just about selling a product next year, it's about building a brand that lasts for generations. So, how do you actually do it?
The answer lies right here in these 4 pillars. First, you anchor your entire brand in quality and affordability. Second, you formulate your products with trusted, local ingredients. Third, you build your presence through deep, meaningful local partnerships. And fourth, you make sure you are available everywhere your customer is, through every possible channel. This right here, this is the playbook.
And these powerful insights, they come directly from the strategic analysis of Reconnected Africa. They're the ones who specialize in guiding entrepreneurs and investors through this complex and rewarding landscape. Because ultimately, the African beauty market isn't just a maze to be navigated, it's a treasure to be unlocked. And as we've seen, the key isn't a map from somewhere else, it's learning to listen to the people who are already there. Thanks so much for joining us.